Nicole was a bright-spirited young woman, growing up in the heart of Houston, Texas. The 1980s were a time of transformation, but also of turbulence, especially in the neighborhoods where Nicole lived. The crack cocaine epidemic was beginning to take hold, casting a dark shadow over the community. Nicole had dreams, though, dreams of leaving the streets behind and finding a better life. But the streets had a way of pulling people in. Nicole's friends introduced her to crack cocaine, promising it would help her escape her worries. What started as an innocent experiment quickly spiraled out of control. Nicole found herself ensnared by the powerful addiction, her dreams slipping further away with each passing day. Nicole's life began to change rapidly. The once vibrant young woman found herself spending more and more time in places known as trap houses. These were grim, dilapidated buildings where addicts gathered to get high and where dealers ruled with a deadly authority. Nicole was introduced to the dark world of the Houston drug trade, and it wasn't long before she became a regular. In these trap houses, Nicole met others who were struggling with their own demons. There was Big Mike, a dealer with a surprisingly soft spot for Nicole, who offered her protection in exchange for loyalty. And then there was Rosie, an older woman who had lived through her own battles with addiction. Rosie saw something in Nicole, a reflection of her younger self, and took her under her wing, offering guidance in a world where trust was hard to come by. The more time Nicole spent in the trap houses, the further she fell into addiction. Her days and nights blurred together in a haze of crack smoke and despair. She witnessed friends overdose and die, violent encounters between dealers and users, and moments of sheer hopelessness that made her wonder if she would ever escape this life. But despite the darkness, there were glimmers of hope. Nicole still held on to the belief that she could one day break free. She tried to cut back, to avoid the trap houses, but the pull of addiction was too strong. Every time she tried to leave, someone would pull her back in. It was only a matter of time before Nicole's lifestyle caught up with her. One night, during a raid on a trap house, Nicole was arrested along with several others. She was charged with possession of crack cocaine and sentenced to a short stint in county jail. The experience was terrifying for Nicole, who had never been in trouble with the law before. In jail, Nicole met other women who had been caught up in the same cycle of addiction and crime. They shared their stories, their fears, and their hopes for a better life. For some, jail was a temporary reprieve from the streets. For others, it was just another stop on a long journey of pain and suffering. During her time in jail, Nicole met an older inmate named Mama John. Mama Jean was tough as nails, with a reputation for being the matriarch of the women's block. She had seen it all: drug addiction, crime, betrayal, and she had survived it. Mama Jean took an interest in Nicole, seeing something in her that Nicole had forgotten, a glimmer of strength and resilience. Mama Jean became a mentor to Nicole, teaching her how to navigate the prison system and, more importantly, how to survive. She encouraged Nicole to start thinking about her future, to consider what life could be like if she ever managed to break free from her addiction. It wasn't easy, but Mama Jean's tough love began to plant seeds of hope in Nicole's heart. When Nicole was finally released from jail, she felt a strange mixture of relief and dread. She was glad to be out, but she knew that the world outside wasn't much better than the one she had left behind. The streets were still dangerous, the trap houses still beckoned, and her addiction still had a strong hold on her. Nicole tried to stay away from her old haunts, but it was harder than she had imagined. The temptation was always there, just around the corner. She found herself drifting back to the people and places she had promised herself she would avoid. It was as if the streets had a magnetism she couldn't resist. Despite her best efforts, Nicole found herself back in the trap houses. It was as if nothing had changed, and yet everything had. The faces were different, but the stories were the same. The drugs, the despair, the violence. It was all still there, waiting for her. Nicole's addiction had its claws deep in her, and she felt powerless to fight it. But even in the depths of her despair, Nicole still held onto a sliver of hope. She remembered Mama Jean's words, the encouragement she had received in jail. Nicole knew she had to find a way out, but she wasn't sure if she was strong enough to do it on her own. One day, in the midst of her struggle, Nicole met a young woman named Carla. Carla was new to the streets, but she had a fire in her that Nicole hadn't seen in a long time. Unlike Nicole, Carla hadn't yet fallen into the trap of addiction, and she was determined to keep it that way. Carla saw something in Nicole, a survivor, and decided to stick by her side. Carla's friendship was a breath of fresh air for Nicole. With Carla by her side, Nicole began to see the possibility of a different life. Carla encouraged Nicole to start attending meetings for people struggling with addiction, and though Nicole was hesitant at first, she eventually agreed to go. The meetings were unlike anything Nicole had ever experienced. At first, she felt out of place, surrounded by people who seemed so different from her. But as she listened to their stories, she realized that they were all struggling with the same demons. Addiction didn't discriminate, it affected everyone, regardless of their background. Nicole began to speak at the meetings, sharing her own story. It wasn't easy, but each time she spoke, she felt a little bit stronger. The other members of the group were supportive, offering advice and encouragement. Slowly, Nicole began to see that recovery was possible, but it would take time, effort, and a lot of support. Just when it seemed like Nicole was making progress, life threw her another curveball. Big Mike, the dealer who had once protected her, was arrested in a major drug bust. The trap house where Nicole had spent so much of her time was raided, and Nicole narrowly escaped being caught up in the chaos. The streets were more dangerous than ever, and Nicole knew she had to be careful. But even with the danger, the pull of addiction was still strong. Nicole had moments of weakness, times when she thought about using again. It was a constant battle, one that she wasn't sure she could win. But with Carla's support and the strength she found in the meetings, Nicole kept fighting, determined not to let her addiction define her. Despite the setbacks, Nicole began to see a glimmer of hope on the horizon. She had managed to stay clean for several weeks, a small victory in a long battle. She started to rebuild her life, finding odd jobs here and there to keep herself busy. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Nicole also began to reconnect with her family, who had long since distanced themselves from her. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of hurt and anger to work through. But Nicole was determined to make amends. She knew that she couldn't do this alone, and having her family's support meant everything to her. But just when it seemed like things were getting better, Nicole faced a new temptation. A former friend from the streets who had managed to avoid prison time approached her with an offer. He had a plan to make some quick money, and he wanted Nicole to be a part of it. All she had to do was help him move some product. Nothing major, just a small job. The offer was tempting. Nicole was struggling to make ends meet, and the money would help her get back on her feet. But deep down, she knew that getting involved in the drug trade again would be a huge mistake. It was a test of her resolve, one that would determine whether she was truly ready to leave her old life behind. Nicole wrestled with the decision for days. The money was tempting, but the risk was too great. She knew that if she got caught, she could end up back in prison or worse. But the thought of turning down the offer and continuing to struggle weighed heavily on her mind. In the end, Nicole made the difficult decision to walk away. She knew it was the right choice, but that didn't make it any easier. It was a test of her strength and determination, and it showed her just how far she had come. Nicole was starting to see that she had the power to choose her own path, even when it wasn't the easiest one. With the temptation behind her, Nicole focused on building a new life for herself. She continued to attend meetings, finding strength in the stories of others who had overcome their addictions. She also began to look for more stable work, something that would help her get back on her feet. Nicole's journey wasn't easy, but each step she took brought her closer to the life she wanted. She started to believe that she could truly leave her old life behind, that she could be free from the chains of addiction. It was a slow process, but Nicole was determined to keep moving forward. Nicole finally found a job that gave her a sense of purpose. It wasn't glamorous, working as a clerk in a small grocery store, but it was honest work, and it gave her a chance to prove to herself and others that she could stay clean and rebuild her life. The routine of going to work every day helped keep her focused, and the paycheck, though small, gave her a sense of independence. The owner of the grocery store, Mr. Patel, was a kind man who took a chance on Nicole despite her past. He didn't ask many questions, but he made it clear that he believed in second chances. Nicole appreciated his trust and worked hard to show that she deserved it. As Nicole's life began to stabilize, she made a concerted effort to reconnect with her family. It wasn't easy. Years of addiction had strained those relationships, but Nicole was determined to make amends. She started by reaching out to her younger sister, who had always been close to her before drugs took over her life. Their first meeting was awkward, filled with long silences and tentative conversation. But slowly, the walls began to come down. Nicole apologized for the pain she had caused and promised to do better. Her sister, though cautious, saw the sincerity in Nicole's eyes and agreed to give her another chance. It was the beginning of healing, not just for Nicole, but for her entire family. Just as Nicole was starting to feel like she had her life back on track, she faced another challenge. One day, while walking home from work, she ran into an old acquaintance from the streets. He was still deep in addiction, his eyes hollow and his body frail. Seeing him brought back memories of her own time in the trap houses, and for a moment, Nicole felt the old cravings stir within her. The man offered her a hit, saying it was just like old times. Nicole was tempted, more tempted than she wanted to admit, but she knew that giving in would undo all the progress she had made. With a firm but gentle refusal, she walked away, leaving the past behind her once again. It was a small victory, but a significant one. Nicole's encounter with her old acquaintance made her realize just how fragile her recovery still was. She couldn't afford to let her guard down, not even for a moment. She threw herself into her work, finding solace in the routine and the sense of purpose it gave her. She also began attending more meetings, seeking out the support of others who understood what she was going through. It was during one of these meetings that Nicole met a woman named Grace. Grace had been clean for over 5 years, and her story was one of resilience and determination. She had once been where Nicole was, struggling to stay clean, but she had found a way to build a new life for herself. Grace became a new mentor for Nicole, showing her that it was possible to not just survive, but to thrive. As Nicole continued her journey of recovery, she began to explore her spiritual side. She had never been particularly religious, but she started to attend a local church at Grace's suggestion. The community there was warm and welcoming, and Nicole found comfort in the services and the messages of hope and redemption. Faith became an important part of Nicole's recovery. It gave her something to hold on to during the tough times, a sense of purpose that went beyond just staying clean. She began to pray regularly, finding strength in the belief that there was something greater guiding her path. It wasn't always easy, but her faith gave her the courage to keep going, even when the road seemed long and difficult. With her newfound stability, Nicole began to open herself up to new relationships. For so long she had isolated herself, believing that she didn't deserve love or friendship because of her past. But as she grew stronger, she realized that she was worthy of connection and that building relationships was an important part of her healing. One day, after a church service, Nicole met a man named David. He was kind, patient, and had a quiet strength that drew Nicole to him. David had his own story of overcoming adversity, and he understood the challenges Nicole faced. They began to spend more time together, and slowly, a deep and meaningful relationship began to blossom. For the first time in a long time, Nicole allowed herself to hope for a future that included love and companionship. As Nicole's relationship with David deepened, she faced a new test of faith. David was supportive of her recovery, but he didn't fully understand the struggles she faced. One day, Nicole confided in him about her past, revealing the darkest parts of her journey. It was a difficult conversation, one that left her feeling vulnerable and exposed. David listened quietly, and when Nicole finished, he took her hand and told her that her past didn't define her. He loved the person she was now, the strong and resilient woman who had overcome so much. His words brought tears to Nicole's eyes, and for the first time she truly believed that she could have a future that wasn't overshadowed by her past. As Nicole continued to move forward, she realized that she needed to address the unresolved issues from her past. There were people she had hurt, relationships she had damaged, and bridges she had burned during her time in addiction. Nicole knew that in order to truly heal, she needed to make amends. She began reaching out to the people she had wronged, offering sincere apologies and seeking forgiveness. Some were receptive, while others were not, but Nicole understood that she couldn't control their reactions. What mattered was that she was taking responsibility for her actions and doing her part to make things right. Each step brought her closer to peace and allowed her to let go of the guilt and shame she had carried for so long. As Nicole worked on making amends, she also had to confront the need to forgive herself. This was perhaps the hardest part of her journey. For years, she had been her own harshest critic, blaming herself for the choices she had made and the pain she had caused. But with the help of Grace, her support group, and her newfound faith, Nicole began to understand that forgiveness was a crucial part of healing. It wasn't an easy process. Nicole had to dig deep and confront the darkest parts of herself. But as she learned to forgive herself, she began to feel a weight lifting from her shoulders. She realized that she was not the same person she had been during her years of addiction. She had grown, she had changed, and she deserved the chance to move forward without the burden of the past holding her back. Nicole knew that in order to stay on the path of recovery, she needed to surround herself with positive influences. She continued to attend meetings and church services, but she also sought out new friendships with people who supported her goals and encouraged her growth. Slowly, Nicole built a new support system, one that included friends, mentors, and fellow survivors of addiction. This new community became a lifeline for Nicole. Whenever she felt herself slipping, she could turn to them for support and guidance. They celebrated her victories and helped her through her setbacks. With their help, Nicole began to believe that she could not only stay clean, but also build a life that was full of joy, purpose, and love. Just when it seemed like Nicole had everything under control, life threw her another curveball. One day, while walking home from work, she passed by a familiar trap house. The sight of it brought back a flood of memories, and before she knew it, Nicole found herself standing at the door, her old cravings rising to the surface. It was a moment of weakness, one that left Nicole feeling ashamed and defeated. But instead of giving in, she turned away and walked home, determined not to let her past dictate her future. When she got home, she called Grace, who reminded her that setbacks were a natural part of recovery. What mattered was how she responded to them. Nicole took comfort in Grace's words and resolved to keep fighting, no matter how difficult the journey might be. With each setback, Nicole grew stronger. She learned to recognize her triggers and develop strategies to cope with them. She also began to focus on the future, setting new goals for herself and taking steps to achieve them. Nicole decided to go back to school, enrolling in a community college program to study counseling. She wanted to help others who were struggling with addiction, just as she had been helped. School was challenging, but it gave Nicole a sense of purpose and direction. She thrived in the classroom, finding joy in learning and in the prospect of building a new career. Her professors and classmates were supportive, and Nicole found herself forming new friendships that enriched her life. For the first time in a long time, she felt truly hopeful about the future. As Nicole progressed in her studies, she began volunteering at a local treatment center that specialized in helping people recover from addiction. She worked with individuals who were going through the same struggles she had faced, offering them support, encouragement, and the wisdom she had gained from her own journey. Volunteering at the treatment center was both challenging and rewarding. Nicole saw firsthand the toll that addiction took on people's lives, but she also witnessed the incredible resilience and strength that existed within each person. Helping others gave Nicole a renewed sense of purpose, and it solidified her commitment to her own recovery. Nicole's work at the treatment center became more than just a job, it became a calling. She found immense satisfaction in helping others who were struggling with addiction, seeing in them a reflection of her past self. Every success story, every person who took a step towards recovery, was a reminder of why she had chosen this path. Nicole's dedication didn't go unnoticed. The treatment center's director, impressed by her compassion and resilience, offered her a full-time position. It was a dream come true for Nicole, a chance to make a real difference in the lives of others while continuing to grow in her own recovery. She accepted the offer with gratitude, knowing that this was where she was meant to be. One day, as Nicole was leaving the treatment center, she ran into someone she hadn't seen in years. Rosie, the woman who had taken her under her wing in the early days of her addiction. Rosie had aged, but there was a light in her eyes that hadn't been there before. She had also found her way out of addiction and was now working to help others do the same. The reunion was emotional, filled with tears and laughter. Nicole and Rosie spent hours catching up, sharing stories of their journeys and the people they had met along the way. Rosie was proud of the woman Nicole had become, and Nicole was grateful for the role Rosie had played in her life. Their bond, forged in the fires of addiction, had endured and grown stronger with time. As much as Nicole loved her new job, it wasn't without its challenges. Working in a treatment center meant confronting the harsh realities of addiction every day. She saw people at their lowest points, struggling to break free from the same chains that had once bound her. It was emotionally draining, and there were days when Nicole wondered if she was strong enough to keep going. But Nicole knew that she had a purpose, and that purpose kept her moving forward. She leaned on her support system, David, Grace, and her friends from the meetings, to help her through the tough days. And slowly, Nicole learned to find balance in her life, making sure to take care of herself so that she could continue to care for others. David had been Nicole's rock throughout her recovery, and their relationship had only grown stronger over time. They supported each other through the ups and downs, and David's quiet strength was a constant source of comfort for Nicole. One evening, after a particularly difficult day at work, David took Nicole out to her favorite spot by the lake. As the sun set over the water, he got down on one knee and asked her to marry him. Nicole was overwhelmed with emotion. She had never imagined that someone could love her so deeply, especially after everything she had been through. But David had shown her time and time again that her past didn't define her, that she was worthy of love and happiness. With tears in her eyes, Nicole said yes, knowing that this was the beginning of a new chapter in her life. With their engagement, Nicole and David began to plan their future together. It was a time of excitement and joy as they made decisions about their wedding and their life after marriage. Nicole felt a sense of peace and fulfillment that she hadn't known in years. She had come so far from the days when she had been trapped in addiction, and now she was building a life filled with love, purpose, and hope. But as they planned for the future, Nicole also knew that she needed to stay grounded in her recovery. She continued to attend meetings, to pray, and to lean on her support system. She was determined not to let anything jeopardize the progress she had made. With David by her side, Nicole felt ready to face whatever challenges the future might hold. The day of Nicole and David's wedding was a beautiful, sunlit day in Houston. They chose to have a small, intimate ceremony surrounded by close friends and family. As Nicole walked down the aisle, she couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. From the dark days of addiction and trap houses to this moment of joy and love, it felt like a miracle. The ceremony was simple but meaningful, filled with heartfelt vows and tears of happiness. Nicole and David promised to support each other through whatever life might bring, to love each other unconditionally, and to always be each other's anchor. When they were finally pronounced husband and wife, Nicole felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her to this moment. After the wedding, Nicole and David settled into their new life together. They moved into a small but cozy home where they began to build the life they had dreamed of. It was a time of new beginnings, new routines, new challenges, and new joys. Nicole found comfort in the stability of their life together, knowing that she was finally on solid ground. But Nicole also knew that recovery was a lifelong journey, and she remained committed to her growth. She continued her work at the treatment center, finding fulfillment in helping others find their way out of addiction. With David's support, Nicole felt stronger than ever, ready to face whatever the future might hold. Despite the happiness in her new life, Nicole occasionally found herself haunted by memories of her past. There were moments when the darkness of her addiction would resurface, bringing with it feelings of guilt and regret. These moments were challenging, reminding Nicole that recovery was a constant battle, one that required vigilance and strength. David, ever understanding, encouraged Nicole to talk about these feelings, to confront them rather than bury them. Together, they worked through the emotions, reminding each other that the past didn't define them. With each conversation, Nicole felt a little more at peace, learning to accept her past as a part of her story, but not the whole of it. As time went on, Nicole became more involved in her community. She joined local initiatives aimed at helping those affected by the crack cocaine epidemic, sharing her story, and offering support to others who were still struggling. Nicole's presence in the community became a beacon of hope, showing that recovery was possible, even in the darkest of circumstances. Through her work, Nicole met others who had similar stories of addiction and recovery. Together, they formed a tight-knit group, supporting each other in their efforts to rebuild their lives. Nicole found strength in this community, knowing that she wasn't alone in her journey. They celebrated each other's successes and provided comfort during the tough times, creating a network of love and support that was invaluable. With each passing day, Nicole found herself more dedicated to her work and her community. She began to see her journey not just as a personal victory, but as a way to inspire and help others. She started giving talks at schools, churches, and community centers, sharing her story and educating others about the dangers of addiction. Nicole's talks were raw and honest, filled with the hard truths of her experiences, but they were also filled with hope, showing that it was possible to overcome even the most difficult challenges. Her message resonated with many, especially those who were facing similar struggles. Nicole's story became a source of inspiration, proof that it was never too late to turn your life around. As Nicole's influence grew, she began to think about ways to expand her reach. She started writing a blog, sharing her thoughts on recovery, addiction, and life after addiction. The blog quickly gained a following, with readers from all over the country reaching out to Nicole for advice and support. Encouraged by the response, Nicole decided to write a book about her journey. She wanted to share her story in a way that could reach even more people, to provide hope and guidance to those who needed it most. The process of writing the book was therapeutic for Nicole, allowing her to reflect on her experiences and the lessons she had learned along the way. Writing the book wasn't easy. There were days when Nicole struggled to find the right words, when the memories were too painful to relive. She experienced bouts of writer's block, feeling overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task she had undertaken. But Nicole was determined to see it through, knowing that her story could make a difference in the lives of others. David and Grace were her biggest supporters during this time, encouraging her to keep going even when it was tough. They reminded her of the impact her story could have, of the people who needed to hear her message. With their support, Nicole pushed through the challenges, slowly but surely making progress on her book. Once the book was finished, Nicole faced the daunting task of finding a publisher. She sent out dozens of queries, facing rejection after rejection. It was a frustrating process, one that tested her patience and resolve. But Nicole refused to give up, believing in the importance of her story. Finally, after months of searching, Nicole found a small independent publisher who was interested in her book. They believed in her story and were excited to help her bring it to the world. Nicole was overjoyed, knowing that all her hard work had paid off. The journey to publication had been long and difficult, but it was worth it. The day of the book release was a momentous occasion for Nicole. She held a launch event at a local community center, surrounded by friends, family, and supporters. The room was filled with people who had been a part of her journey, and Nicole was overwhelmed with gratitude for the love and support she had received. As she stood in front of the crowd, holding her book in her hands, Nicole couldn't help but reflect on how far she had come. From the dark days of addiction to this moment of triumph, it felt like a dream. She spoke to the crowd about her journey, about the importance of never giving up, and about the power of community and support. The applause that followed was deafening, a testament to the impact Nicole had made on those around her. With the release of her book, Nicole's message began to spread even further. She was invited to speak at conferences, to participate in panel discussions, and to share her story on podcasts and radio shows. Her voice became a powerful tool in the fight against addiction, offering hope and guidance to those who were struggling. Nicole's work also caught the attention of larger organizations who wanted to partner with her to create programs and initiatives aimed at preventing addiction and supporting recovery. Nicole was excited by the opportunities, knowing that they would allow her to reach even more people. She threw herself into the work, determined to make a difference on a larger scale. As Nicole's profile grew, so did the challenges she faced. The demands on her time were intense, and she struggled to balance her work with her personal life. There were moments when she felt overwhelmed, questioning whether she could handle the pressure. But Nicole knew that this work was important, and she was determined to keep going. David was a constant source of support during this time, reminding Nicole to take care of herself and to find balance in her life. He encouraged her to take breaks, to spend time with family and friends, and to remember that she didn't have to do it all on her own. With his help, Nicole found a way to manage the demands on her time, ensuring that she could continue her work without burning out. One day, Nicole was approached by a major nonprofit organization that was interested in partnering with her to create a nationwide campaign focused on addiction prevention and recovery. The organization had the resources and reach to make a significant impact, and they wanted Nicole to be the face of the campaign. It was an incredible opportunity, one that Nicole couldn't have imagined just a few years earlier. She agreed to the partnership, excited by the possibilities. Together, they launched a campaign that reached millions of people, spreading the message of hope and recovery across the country. Nicole's story became a beacon of light for those who were struggling, showing them that it was possible to overcome even the darkest of circumstances. Through her work with the nonprofit organization, Nicole became increasingly involved in advocacy efforts aimed at changing the way addiction was treated in the United States. She met with lawmakers, participated in rallies, and worked to raise awareness about the need for better resources and support for those struggling with addiction. Nicole's advocacy work was challenging, but it was also deeply rewarding. She knew that the policies and programs she was fighting for could make a real difference in the lives of millions of people. Her passion and dedication earned her the respect of her peers, and she became a leading voice in the movement for change. As much as Nicole loved her work, it wasn't without its toll. The emotional weight of the stories she heard and the struggles she witnessed began to take a toll on her mental health. There were days when she felt overwhelmed by the pain and suffering she encountered, questioning whether she could continue in this line of work. David, ever supportive, encouraged Nicole to seek help for the emotional strain she was experiencing. She began seeing a therapist who helped her process the emotions and find ways to cope with the stress. Nicole also started practicing mindfulness and meditation, finding solace in moments of quiet reflection. These practices helped her regain her balance, allowing her to continue her work with renewed strength and determination. Despite her best efforts, Nicole eventually found herself facing burnout. The demands of her work, combined with the emotional toll of her advocacy, left her feeling drained and exhausted. She knew that she needed to take a step back to find a way to recharge and regain her strength. Nicole took a leave of absence from her work, spending time at home with David and focusing on her own well-being. It was a difficult decision, but one that she knew was necessary. During this time, Nicole reconnected with her faith, finding comfort in prayer and reflection. She also spent time with her family and friends, rediscovering the joys of simple everyday moments. As Nicole took time to heal and recover, she began to rediscover the joys in life that she had neglected during her busy career. She and David spent time traveling, exploring new places, and experiencing new things together. They reconnected with old friends, hosted dinner parties, and enjoyed the simple pleasures of life. Nicole also found joy in creativity, taking up painting as a hobby. It was a way for her to express herself, to channel her emotions into something beautiful. The process of creating art was therapeutic for Nicole, helping her find peace and balance in her life. Through these new experiences, Nicole rediscovered the joy that had been missing from her life, reminding her of the importance of taking care of herself. After several months of rest and reflection, Nicole felt ready to return to work. But she knew that she needed to approach it differently this time, with a focus on balance and self-care. Nicole resumed her advocacy work, but she also set boundaries to ensure that she wouldn't burn out again. She took on fewer projects, delegated more responsibilities, and made time for the things that brought her joy. Returning to work with this new mindset allowed Nicole to continue making an impact without sacrificing her well-being. She was more focused, more energized, and more effective in her advocacy efforts. Nicole had learned the importance of balance, and she was determined to maintain it as she continued her work to change the world. As Nicole continued her work in advocacy, she began to feel a pull towards a new mission. She had spent years helping those affected by addiction, and she knew that her work had made a difference. But Nicole also knew that there was more to be done, that there were still people who needed her help. Nicole decided to focus her efforts on a new initiative, providing support and resources to the families of those struggling with addiction. She knew from her own experience how difficult it was for families to navigate the challenges of addiction, and she wanted to help them find the support they needed. Nicole launched a new program aimed at educating and empowering families, giving them the tools they needed to help their loved ones. Nicole's new program quickly gained traction, with families from all over the country reaching out for help. The program provided education, counseling, and support groups for families, helping them understand addiction and how to best support their loved ones. Nicole's personal experience and empathy made her an effective leader in this new mission, and the impact of her work was felt by countless families. Through the program, Nicole met many families who were struggling to cope with the realities of addiction. She heard their stories, offered guidance, and provided a listening ear. Nicole's work made a significant difference in the lives of these families, giving them hope and the knowledge that they weren't alone in their struggles. Encouraged by the success of her new program, Nicole began to think about ways to expand its reach. She partnered with other organizations to create a national network of support for families, ensuring that no family would have to face the challenges of addiction alone. Nicole also worked to raise awareness about the importance of family support in the recovery process, advocating for policies that provided resources and assistance to families in need. The expansion of the program was a major success, with thousands of families across the country benefiting from the resources and support it provided. Nicole's work continued to make a profound impact, helping to create a more compassionate and understanding society when it came to addiction and recovery. As Nicole's work gained recognition, she was approached by a major television network with an offer to create a documentary series about her life and work. The series would follow Nicole as she worked with families affected by addiction, highlighting the challenges they faced and the progress they made. It was an opportunity to bring her message to an even wider audience, and Nicole agreed to participate. The filming process was intense, but it also allowed Nicole to share her story in a new way. The documentary series was raw and emotional, showing the realities of addiction and the importance of family support. When it aired, it received widespread acclaim, reaching millions of viewers and further solidifying Nicole's impact on the national conversation about addiction. The success of the documentary series opened up new opportunities for Nicole to spread her message. She was invited to appear on talk shows, to speak at conferences, and to write articles for major publications. Nicole used these platforms to advocate for better support for families affected by addiction, to raise awareness about the importance of recovery, and to share her personal story. Through these media appearances, Nicole reached a wider audience than ever before. She became a leading voice in the fight against addiction, using her platform to create real change. Her work continued to inspire and empower others, showing that recovery was possible and that support from family and community was crucial. As Nicole's influence grew, she began to think about the legacy she wanted to leave behind. She had accomplished so much, but she knew that there was still work to be done. Nicole decided to establish a foundation in her name, dedicated to providing support and resources to families affected by addiction. The foundation would continue her work long after she was gone, ensuring that her message of hope and recovery would live on. The establishment of the foundation was a milestone in Nicole's journey. It was a way to ensure that her work would continue to make a difference, to provide hope and support to future generations. Nicole felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that her life had a purpose and that her story had the power to change lives. As Nicole's foundation began to take shape, she realized that it was time to pass the torch to the next generation of leaders. She had spent years building her career, but she knew that she couldn't do it alone. Nicole began mentoring younger advocates and leaders, sharing her knowledge and experience with them. She wanted to ensure that her work would continue, even as she took a step back from the front lines. Mentoring became a new passion for Nicole, allowing her to connect with the next generation of advocates and leaders. She was inspired by their energy and dedication, and she felt confident that they would carry on her work with the same passion and commitment. Passing the torch was a bittersweet moment, but it was also a time of great pride for Nicole, knowing that she had made a difference and that her work would continue. As Nicole approached the later years of her life, she found herself reflecting on the journey she had taken. From the dark days of addiction to the heights of her career as an advocate and leader, it had been a journey filled with challenges and triumphs. Nicole felt a deep sense of gratitude for the people who had supported her along the way, for the lessons she had learned, and for the lives she had touched. Looking back, Nicole realized that her journey had been about more than just recovery. It had been about finding her purpose and using her story to make a difference in the world. She had turned her pain into power, her struggles into strength, and her story into a source of inspiration for others. It was a journey that had shaped her into the person she was, and she was proud of the life she had lived. Despite the successes she had achieved, Nicole knew that life was always full of challenges. As she entered her later years, she faced a new challenge, one that tested her strength and resilience in a different way. Nicole was diagnosed with a serious illness, one that would require her to slow down and focus on her health. The diagnosis was a difficult moment for Nicole, but it also reminded her of the importance of self-care. She had spent so much of her life helping others, but now it was time to take care of herself. Nicole faced this new challenge with the same strength and determination that had carried her through her journey of recovery. She knew that she would get through this, just as she had gotten through everything else. As Nicole faced her illness, she was surrounded by the love and support of her family and friends. David, ever by her side, was her rock, providing comfort and care during the difficult moments. Her friends and colleagues rallied around her, offering their support and encouragement. Nicole was reminded of the power of community, of the importance of having people who cared about her and who would stand by her no matter what. Through this new challenge, Nicole leaned on her faith, finding comfort in prayer and reflection. She knew that she was not alone, that she was surrounded by love and support. This support gave her the strength to face each day with courage and hope, knowing that she was not defined by her illness, but by the life she had lived and the impact she had made. As Nicole continued to face her illness, she found a deep sense of peace within herself. She had lived a full and meaningful life, and she knew that she had made a difference in the world. Nicole felt a sense of acceptance, knowing that she had done all she could to help others and to make the world a better place. Nicole spent her days surrounded by the people she loved, reflecting on the journey she had taken and the legacy she was leaving behind. She found joy in the simple moments, in the love of her family and friends, and in the knowledge that her work would continue through the foundation and the people she had mentored. Nicole had found peace, knowing that her life had been filled with purpose and that her story would live on. As Nicole's health continued to decline, she took comfort in the knowledge that her legacy would live on. She had built something that would continue to make a difference in the world, something that would provide hope and support to those who needed it most. Nicole's foundation and the people she had mentored would carry on her work, ensuring that her message of hope and recovery would continue to reach those who needed it. Nicole's legacy was one of love and compassion, of strength and resilience. She had turned her pain into power, using her story to help others and to create real change in the world. Nicole knew that her life had been meaningful, that she had made a difference, and that her story would continue to inspire others for generations to come. As Nicole's illness progressed, she knew that her time was coming to an end. She spent her final days surrounded by the people she loved, saying goodbye and expressing her gratitude for the life she had lived. Nicole's family and friends were there to support her, to comfort her, and to remind her of the impact she had made on their lives and on the world. Saying goodbye was difficult, but Nicole faced it with the same strength and grace that had defined her life. She knew that she was leaving behind a legacy of love and hope, that her story would continue to make a difference long after she was gone. Nicole found peace in the knowledge that her life had been filled with purpose and that she had made a difference in the world. After Nicole's passing, her family and friends gathered to celebrate her life. They held a memorial service that was filled with love, laughter, and tears, a tribute to the incredible woman Nicole had been. The service was attended by people from all walks of life, each of whom had been touched by Nicole's story and her work. The service was a celebration of the life Nicole had lived, of the impact she had made, and of the legacy she had left behind. There were stories shared, memories recounted, and tributes paid to the woman who had turned her pain into power and her struggles into strength. Nicole's life was celebrated not just for what she had overcome, but for the love and hope she had brought into the world. After Nicole's passing, her foundation continued the work she had started. The foundation's leaders, many of whom had been mentored by Nicole, carried on her mission of providing support and resources to families affected by addiction. They expanded the foundation's reach, creating new programs and initiatives that continued to make a difference in the lives of countless people. Nicole's legacy lived on through the work of the foundation, through the people she had inspired, and the lives she had touched. Her story continued to be a source of hope and inspiration, showing that it was possible to overcome even the darkest of circumstances and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Nicole's story became a powerful example of the impact one life can have on the world. She had faced incredible challenges, but she had also made incredible contributions. Through her work, Nicole had helped countless people find hope and recovery, had changed the conversation about addiction, and had created lasting change in the world. The impact of Nicole's life was felt far and wide, in the community she had served, in the families she had helped, and in the lives she had touched. Her legacy was one of love, compassion, and strength, a testament to the power of resilience and the importance of using one's story to make a difference. As the years passed, a new generation of leaders and advocates emerged, inspired by Nicole's story and her work. These new leaders carried on Nicole's mission, bringing fresh energy and new ideas to the fight against addiction. They built on the foundation Nicole had established, creating new programs and initiatives that continued to make a difference in the world. Nicole's story continued to inspire this new generation, showing them that it was possible to overcome even the greatest challenges and to create real change. Her legacy lived on through their work, ensuring that her message of hope and recovery would continue to reach those who needed it most. The impact of Nicole's work extended far beyond what she could have imagined. Her story and her work had created a ripple effect, inspiring others to take action, to share their own stories, and to make a difference in their own communities. Nicole's legacy became a movement, one that continued to grow and evolve over time. The ripple effect of Nicole's life was felt in countless ways, from the families who found hope through her foundation to the advocates who were inspired by her story. Nicole had created something that would continue to make a difference for generations to come, something that would continue to bring hope and healing to those in need. Nicole's work and legacy had a profound impact on the world, changing the way addiction was understood and treated. Her advocacy efforts had led to new policies and programs, providing better resources and support for those struggling with addiction and their families. Nicole's story had also helped to reduce the stigma surrounding addiction, creating a more compassionate and understanding society. The world had been changed by Nicole's life and her work. Her story had shown that it was possible to overcome even the darkest of circumstances and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Nicole's legacy continued to inspire and empower others, ensuring that her impact would be felt for generations to come. Nicole's story was a powerful reminder of the impact that one person can have on the world. She had faced incredible challenges, but she had also made incredible contributions. Through her work, Nicole had helped countless people find hope and recovery, had changed the conversation about addiction, and had created lasting change in the world. The power of one person to make a difference was evident in everything Nicole had accomplished. Her story showed that it was possible to overcome even the greatest challenges and to create real change. Nicole's legacy was a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of using one's story to make a difference, and the impact that one life can have on the world. Nicole's legacy continued to live on, not just through the work of her foundation, but through the lives she had touched and the people she had inspired. Her story became a part of the fabric of the communities she had served, a reminder of the power of hope and the importance of compassion. Nicole's legacy was a lasting one that would continue to inspire and empower others for generations to come. Her story showed that it was possible to overcome even the greatest challenges and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Nicole had made a difference in the world, and her legacy would ensure that her impact would be felt for years to come. Nicole's work had always been focused on advocacy, on creating change and improving the lives of those affected by addiction. Her advocacy efforts had led to new policies and programs, providing better resources and support for those struggling with addiction and their families. Nicole's work had also helped to reduce the stigma surrounding addiction, creating a more compassionate and understanding society. The importance of advocacy was evident in everything Nicole had accomplished. Her legacy was one of change, of using one's story and voice to make a difference in the world. Nicole's work had shown that advocacy was a powerful tool, one that could create real and lasting change in the lives of those who needed it most. Throughout her life, Nicole had always emphasized the importance of education. She knew that knowledge was a powerful tool, one that could empower people and create change. Nicole's work had always been focused on educating others about addiction, recovery, and the importance of community support. The power of education was evident in everything Nicole had accomplished. Her foundation provided resources and education to families affected by addiction, helping them to better understand the challenges they faced and to find the support they needed. Nicole's work had shown that education was a key component of recovery, one that could empower people to take control of their lives and create a better future. Nicole's work had always been focused on providing hope to those who were struggling. She knew that hope was a powerful force, one that could inspire people to keep going, even in the face of incredible challenges. Nicole's story had been a source of hope for countless people, showing them that it was possible to overcome addiction and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. The gift of hope that Nicole had given to others was evident in the impact of her work. Her foundation continued to provide support and resources to those in need, helping them to find hope and recovery. Nicole's legacy was a reminder of the importance of hope, of the power it had to inspire and empower others, and of the difference it could make in the world. Nicole had lived a life of service, dedicated to helping others and creating change in the world. Her work had always been focused on making a difference in the lives of those affected by addiction, providing support, resources, and hope. Nicole's life was a testament to the power of service, showing that one person could make a real and lasting difference in the world. The legacy of service that Nicole had left behind was evident in the work of her foundation, in the lives she had touched, and in the people she had inspired. Nicole's story showed that service was a powerful tool for creating change, one that could transform lives and communities. Her legacy was a reminder of the importance of service, of the impact it could have, and of the difference it could make in the world. Nicole's journey had been one of incredible resilience, of the ability to overcome even the greatest challenges and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Her story was a testament to the power of resilience, showing that it was possible to overcome addiction and to create real and lasting change in the world. The strength of resilience that Nicole had demonstrated was evident in everything she had accomplished. Her work had helped countless people find hope and recovery, had changed the conversation about addiction, and had created lasting change in the world. Nicole's story was a reminder of the power of resilience, of the importance of never giving up, and of the impact that one person could have on the world. Nicole's legacy was one of change, of the ability to create real and lasting impact in the world. Her work had always been focused on creating change, on improving the lives of those affected by addiction, and on making the world a better place. Nicole's legacy was a testament to the power of change, showing that it was possible to overcome even the greatest challenges and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. The legacy of change that Nicole had left behind was evident in the work of her foundation, in the lives she had touched, and in the people she had inspired. Nicole's story showed that change was possible, that it was within reach, and that it could make a real and lasting difference in the world. Her legacy was a reminder of the power of change, of the importance of using one's story to create change, and of the impact that one person could have on the world. Nicole's story had been a source of inspiration for countless people, showing them that it was possible to overcome addiction and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Her journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been filled with triumphs. Nicole had turned her pain into power, her struggles into strength, and her story into a source of hope for others. The gift of inspiration that Nicole had given to others was evident in the impact of her work. Her foundation continued to provide support and resources to those in need, helping them to find hope and recovery. Nicole's legacy was a reminder of the importance of inspiration, of the power it had to motivate and empower others, and of the difference it could make in the world. Nicole's life had been a story of redemption, of the ability to overcome even the greatest challenges and to create a life filled with purpose and meaning. Her journey had been one of incredible resilience, of the ability to turn pain into power and to use her story to create change. Nicole's story was a testament to the power of redemption, showing that it was possible to overcome addiction and to create a new life. The story of redemption that Nicole had lived was a powerful reminder of the impact that one person could have on the world. Her work had helped countless people find hope and recovery, had changed the conversation about addiction, and had created lasting change in the world. Nicole's legacy was a reminder of the power of redemption, of the importance of never giving up, and of the difference it could make in the world. Throughout her journey, Nicole had learned the importance of forgiveness. She knew that in order to move forward, she needed to forgive herself for her past mistakes and to seek forgiveness from those she had hurt. Forgiveness had been a crucial part of Nicole's recovery, allowing her to let go of the guilt and shame she had carried for so long. The power of forgiveness was evident in everything Nicole had accomplished. Her work had been focused on helping others find forgiveness, on helping them to heal and to move forward with their lives. Nicole's story was a reminder of the importance of forgiveness, of the power it had to heal, and of the difference it could make in the world. Nicole's work had always been focused on healing, on helping those affected by addiction to find hope and recovery. Her legacy was one of healing, of the ability to create real and lasting change in the lives of those who needed it most. Nicole's work had helped countless people find the support and resources they needed to heal and to create a new life. The legacy of healing that Nicole had left behind was evident in the work of her foundation, in the lives she had touched, and in the people she had inspired. Nicole's story showed that healing was possible, that it was within reach, and that it could make a real and lasting difference in the world. Her legacy was a reminder of the power of healing, of the importance of using one's story to create healing, and of the impact that one person could have on the world. As Nicole's life came to an end, she knew that her legacy would live on. She had created something that would continue to make a difference in the world, something that would provide hope and support to those who needed it most. Nicole's legacy was one of love, compassion, and strength, a testament to the power of resilience and the importance of using one's story to make a difference. The importance of legacy was evident in everything Nicole had accomplished. Her work had helped countless people find hope and recovery, had changed the conversation about addiction, and had created lasting change in the world. Nicole's story was a reminder of the importance of legacy, of the impact it could have, and of the difference it could make in the world. As Nicole looked back on her life, she knew that she had lived a life well lived. Her journey had been filled with challenges, but it had also been filled with triumphs. Nicole had turned her pain into power, her struggles into strength, and her story into a source of hope for others. She had lived a life filled with purpose and meaning, a life that had made a difference in the world. Nicole's life was a testament to the power of resilience, to the importance of using one's story to make a difference, and to the impact that one person can have on the world. Her legacy would continue to live on, a reminder of the power of hope, the importance of community, and the strength of love. As Nicole's life came to a close, she took a moment to reflect on everything she had accomplished. She knew that her journey had been one of incredible challenges, but it had also been one of incredible triumphs. Nicole had created a legacy of love, compassion, and strength, a legacy that would continue to make a difference in the world for generations to come. Nicole's final reflection was one of gratitude for the people who had supported her, for the lessons she had learned, and for the impact she had made. She knew that her life had been meaningful, that she had made a difference, and that her story would continue to inspire others long after she was gone. Nicole's life was a reminder of the power of resilience, of the importance of using one's story to make a difference, and of the impact that one person can have on the world.